It is now 6 p.m. on October the 3rd, and I am going to call to order the October meeting of the Mayor and Council. In just a moment, I'm going to ask Chris Tanton, who is the VRPD chaplain, to come forward and lead us in the invocation, followed right after the Pledge of Allegiance will be led by Officer David Kano. All right, very good. All right, if you would rise, please. Mr. Chaplain, if you would come up.
Let's pray. Father God, we just thank you for another beautiful day, this beautiful fall day you've given us. Thank you for this place that we all call home, and those who give so many hours to help the city run behind the scenes. We pray your blessings over this meeting, that it would be efficient and respectful, pleasant, that it would achieve what needs to be done tonight. We ask your provision and your protection over this city. Just watch over us, please, and keep us safe. Help us to serve you as well as we're capable of, and just pursue all that is good, right, and holy in your sight. We love you and praise you in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Officer, if you can come up.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, and liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you. You all may be seated. Let me say just a couple of words about these fine gentlemen who joined us tonight. You all will probably recognize Chaplain Tanton. Chris and his wife Abby moved to Villa Rica at the beginning of 2020 after spending almost 4 years serving as missionaries in the Dominican Republic. Before that, he taught math for 12 years at Mount Perrin Christian School in Kennesaw. He currently runs a small business out of his home and is a member of West Hills Church. He actively serves as the chaplain at the Villa Rica Police Department. We appreciate you, sir. And Officer David Kano. Officer David Kano was hired on March 22nd, 2022. He was born and raised in Colombia, South America, and immigrated to the United States at the age of 10. He is bilingual and serves as a Spanish translator for the police department. Officer Kano is assigned to C shift, where he is a night shift patrol officer. Officer Kano has recently completed training to operate the police department's drone and will soon be a certified drone operator. He's been part of the Villa Rica community since 2004 and attended Villa Rica High School. He is married to Laura Kano, who is a teacher at Villa Rica Elementary. Officer Kano has 2 children that attend Villa Rica Elementary, where his wife teaches. Thank you for your service, sir. And good to see you. I haven't really seen you since probably, late spring or early summer. Last time I saw you down in the police department. What's that, Spencer? Well, that's right, because I'm trying to get some sleep, but I appreciate the work you're doing while I'm sleeping. All right, let's move on to the adoption of the agenda. I'm not aware that there needs to be any changes, so can I get a motion to adopt the agenda as presented?
So moved.
I have a motion from Mr. Carter to adopt the agenda as presented. Can I get a second?
Second.
A second from Ms. McCoy. All in favor? That's unanimous. We have adopted the agenda. We will move on now to public comments. I have a list here of folks who have signed up for public comment. After I go through this list, if you did not sign up, I'll give you an opportunity to speak then. Please keep your comments on a professional level. We will not accept comments that are considered by the chair to be of a personal attack on any individual or group of individuals. If you deviate from this protocol, you'll receive a warning from the chair. If you deviate a second time, you'll be leaving. Only one person speaking at a time, and please no comments from the audience. When you're speaking, please address your comments to the mayor and council. And then just as a courtesy, just so you know, we give 3 minutes. We typically don't engage back and forth. That's your 3 minutes, and if we have an opportunity afterward, we may address some concern that you have if we can. First up is Rhonda McCullers. Ma'am, if you would come up and give us your name and address for the record, we will give you 3 minutes.
Rhonda McCullers, 401 North Lost Lake Cove, Villa Rica. Good evening, Mayor and Council.
I am just here to talk about what's happening at Main Street. October 28th, we have Thrill at the Mill from 10 to 12. That is where you can come and bring your kids and they can trick or treat. Everybody's going to have candy. We'll have costume contests, things like that. It's going to be a lot of fun. And also tomorrow is our last leadership luncheon of the year. And you can still get tickets if you like. It's lunch, starts at 11:30, and you can find the tickets at FreshTix.com. It is the last leadership luncheon of this year, and our speaker will be the very own mayor, Mr. Gil McDougall.
That's right.
And also, I wanted to mention, too, that this Friday night, it's not Main Street, but the Lions Club is presenting a Elvis impersonator. So if you don't have anything to do Friday night, you can come out. I think they're selling tickets as well for seating, but I don't really know exactly about that. You could talk to Clint Chance or somebody from the Lions Club. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff still happening in Villa Rica, so get out and come find out what it's about.
Well, so let me ask you a question about that, though. So in years past, they've had some pumpkin carving contest up on the stage. Did we have that
We
this year?
did. The police department don't want to hear about that because the fire department beat them like 3 years in a row.
Okay. I didn't mean to bring
You
that
weren't here,
up.
was you?
I didn't.
Anyways, we are not doing that this year. It was a lot of fun. It was a good sports. But recently they haven't had like enough people that they can have 3 people out here, and I know the police department has been short too, so we didn't really even plan it this year, but we probably would like to do that again. It was a lot of fun.
I think
really
it was a lot of fun. But folks can bring their kids out and they
Bring your kids out. We'll have
candy.
costume contests. They can get candy. There'll be age groups for the costume contest. It'll start like babies, and then it'll be like, 3 and 4, and then like 6 to 8 or something like that. And they'll also have a family one too. So if you get real active and your whole family dresses up, you can come out. And from what I understand, we have a few vendors out there, and everybody is supposed to bring candy. So there should be lots of candy to give away.
All right, good deal. Thank you. All right, next up, Doug Lang. Sir, if you'll come up, give us your name and address for the record. We'll give you 3 minutes.
Doug Lang, 262 South Carroll Road. Just a quick thank you and acknowledgement to the Carroll County, Georgia Democrats for organizing or arranging the candidates forum that's coming up, and also to the City of Villa Rica for donating the V-Plex for the event. And I hope I have this written down correctly, for Wednesday, October 11th, starting at 7 p.m. I think it's an important event, and I'm glad that you both, the city and this organization in Carroll County, Georgia Democrats, have come together to make it happen. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you, sir. All right, Chris Brown. Mr. Brown, if you'll come up here, give us your name and address for the record, sir. We'll give you 3 minutes.
My name is Chris Brown. I live on 142 Melray Court, Villa Rica, Georgia. And addressing the mayor, the council, and fellow citizens. I had no idea when I walked through that I was signing up to speak, but
Well,
so here we are. I was
surprise,
hoping to see somebody from Chapman Communities here today. They sent a certified letter in the mail to us homeowners over there off of Highway 78, and they're going to put in a huge development over there. They want to put part of the meeting was they wanted to request certain restrictions waived so they can maybe put some more units in there. They're proposing 192 units, and my thought on that is Highway 78 is a pretty small road. It ends right where I turn into my subdivision at Waterford Drive. It has 3 lanes. It has a turn lane in the center. So if you're coming east on Highway 78 and you want to turn into Waterford Drive, there's no turn lane. That's where everything ends. So this development is going to be a little further west, and I wonder if they talk to the road department, highway department, city, county, state, of some kind of improvements to the road turn lanes, sidewalks. I mean, there's going to be a lot of people living back there, a lot of cars, a lot of people, and there's no sidewalks, people walking on the side of the road and people going by 55 miles an hour in a 35 zone. Policeman. And so I thought they were going to be here. Maybe they had a plot that they could show us of what they've worked out. I know they bought one of the properties that's a residential property on 78, and that's going to be their entrance to, I think it's about 30 acres back there. But that's a lot of units, so I think they want to put in more. So let's say 200 units. That's a lot of people, it's a lot of cars. I was hoping they would be here to show us what they had in mind, or if they've talked to the city, the county, the state, whoever,
Right.
to maybe improve that roadway out there so it can handle the traffic.
Yep.
And just driving over here now, I don't know if there was an accident out on I-20, but 78 was just jam-packed all the way back up here to people heading west. So,
Right. Okay. Are you finished?
yeah.
Yep.
I
So,
just say, if there's no improvements done, it's going to get worse before it gets better.
Yeah, I just want to be able to recognize you for your 3 minutes, and then I'll try to address that if you'll,
Okay.
if you're done. That development is not before us yet. It is still in some planning stages, but I know you got your certified letter,
Yeah.
and so that's put you on notice. But you can check with the city website on a regular basis. There's a meeting here every month, and just see when that comes up on the agenda.
Well, they had it in the letter, it said it'd be this meeting, October 3rd.
Okay, it's not here. It's not going to be here tonight.
Okay,
So,
well-
okay, all right.
Nice to be here anyway.
Yes, sir. Thank you. All right. Next up, Monique Franklin. Come on up here, ma'am. Give us your name and address for the record, and we will give you 3 minutes.
Okay. Monique Franklin, 206 Oakwood Place, Villa Rica. Good evening, Mayor and Council. I'm here today because we got a certified letter in regards to a sign that will be, they're asking for special permission within the 500 feet or something to put up a digital sign, and we have no idea what impact that will have on my community because my home will face the sign. So I don't know if it's a blinking sign, if it's going to be extreme lighting. I don't know. I seen them that they moved a lot of trees from that area, but there was the residents were provided any information what was actually going on until I got a certified mail from Clear Channel
Okay.
with a lot of language in it that I don't really understand. Okay, I'm sorry.
No. Let me just, I should have said this earlier because anytime we have public hearings,
Mm-hmm.
it's possible that you're really here to speak about a public, on
Yes.
a public hearing matter.
Yes.
And you'll still be able to do that.
Oh, okay.
I'm just going to save you a little bit of time. It's usually when that item gets
Comes up?
presented, we'll give a
Gotcha.
good bit of information, and maybe it'll answer your questions before we have the public hearing, but you can be recognized again then.
Okay,
Okay?
perfect. I didn't know the order,
Oh.
so please forgive me.
Not a problem.
Okay, thank
Not a
you.
problem. Okay, that's the last person I have on my list. Is there anybody else here who would like to speak in public comments before I close public comments? All right, seeing none, I'll close public comments, and we will revert to the council. Is there any council members who would like to be recognized for any council updates?
Mayor?
Yes, sir. Mr. Montahan.
I want to thank Ronna McCullers for giving the shout out for the Elvis concert with the Lions Club. Yes, that is this Friday at 7:30. It's a fundraiser. We are doing that in lieu of the Taste of Villa Rica, which we did for quite a while in Villa Rica here. Seats are available for $20, but there is some free seating as well. So I think we're going to have a member of the Lions out there all day Friday prior to the concert if you want to purchase tickets. I think we have about 200 total tickets. I'm not sure how many tickets have been sold. I feel like a good number of them have been sold already. So, thank you.
Good deal. Anybody else? All right, I'll close council updates, and we will move on to the consent agenda. So earlier today, the council met in a work session and was able to move through a substantial number of items before the council. The consent agenda is a single item that encompasses all things the city council would normally approve with little comment. Each of these items were discussed at the council work session, and it was the unanimous consensus of the governing body to place the following items on the consent agenda. I'm going to read through all of these items, and then when I am finished, I'll ask if there are any objections to any of these items, and if there are none, I will ask for a motion to adopt the consent agenda as presented. Consent item number 1, appointment to Planning and Zoning Commission, Ashley Head. Consent number 2, Laserfish Master Services Agreement. Consent number 3, Just FOIA Agreement. Consent number 4, fiscal year 24, 3% cost of living adjustment. Consent number 5, Vonage phone system. Consent number 6, purchase fitness court equipment. Consent number 7, installation of fitness equipment. Consent number 8, purchase F-150 truck. Consent number 9, purchase 2 F-250 trucks. Consent number 10, roadway management technologies. Consent number 11, sidewalk repair reed plantation. Consent number 12, Thermair jet pump replacement. Consent number 13, manhole riser adjustments. Consent number 14, ADA improvements at the Hope Bishop Justice Center. Consent number 15, proposal from Falcon Design to survey the V-Plex. Are there any objections to any of these items? If not, who would like to be recognized for a motion to adopt the consent agenda? Mr. Carter.
I move to adopt the consent agenda.
Have a motion from Mr. Carter to adopt the consent agenda as presented. Is there a second?
Second.
Have a second from Mr. Momtahan. All in favor? That is unanimous. Let's move on to tab A, which is the governing body. Item A1 is the approval of the September 12, 2023 City Council meeting minutes. Are there any adjustments to these meeting minutes? If there are none, is there a motion to adopt to approve the September 12, 2023 City Council meeting minutes as presented? Mr. Carter.
All right, I'll move to approve the minutes of September the 12th, 2023.
All right, have a motion from Mr. Carter to approve the City Council meeting minutes of September 12, 2023 as presented. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Ms. McCoy. All in favor? All right, that is unanimous. Let's move on to tab B, Community Development. This is item B1, VA-10-23, 133 West Bankhead Highway, variance to reduce drive-through queuing spaces. This item does require a public hearing. First, I'll ask Tracy to present the item.
Okay, Ron was stuck on 20. He's
Okay.
on South Carroll. If you want me to start it and or we can push somebody in front of me, whatever you want to do.
Let's do this. Is Jennifer here? You're going to do that? Let me skip and let me bring up Louise. Let's go ahead and do the financial update.
I was so close.
Sorry about that, Miss Louise.
No problem. So this evening, good afternoon,
Yes,
Mayor
ma'am.
Council. I'll be presenting the financial update for August of 2023. So we'll begin with cash. We have $28.4 million, which is a decrease of 7% compared to this time last year. The general fund is at $6.6 million, down 21%. Water and sewer fund is at $2.8 million, down 71%. But if you remember, we moved money into the Mirror Lake connector for the Fuquay development agreement of $7 million, which came out of both of these funds. And that's part of the reason for the decrease compared to last year. So Senator,
I don't want to put you on the spot,
Is
but
it-
when, I think we signed those bonds just a couple of weeks ago, when will that money come in?
it came in last week.
Okay, so these will be adjusted.
Yes,
All right,
yes.
go
So
ahead.
next month you'll
All
see
right,
adjustment.
so this will clean up substantially by next month.
Yes, it will.
All right, go ahead.
So with Mirror Lake Connector, we have $3 million. For the 2015 Carroll SPOS account, we have $500,000. For 2016 Douglas SPOS, $4 million. The 2021 Carroll SPOS at $7.6 million, and the 2022 Douglas SPOS at $641,000. So for our residential permits and taps through August, building permits for 96 for a total of 201,277. Water taps is 82 for 123,000. Sewer taps is at 82 for 328,000. For our lost option sales tax, it continues to improve compared to last year. And this month's increases in growth also includes the Department of Revenue software coding correction, which increased the Carroll County by 70,000 and Douglas County by 13,000. So for the month of August, Carroll County had a 51% growth, 277,044 compared to last year at 183,317. And for Douglas County, they had a 13% growth for 182,606 compared to last year at 160,972. And for the hotel motel tax, it continues to do very well this year. In October through December, we had a 3% growth. January through March, we had a 3% growth. April through June, we had a 9% growth. But during July through August, we had a 29% growth, yielding an 11% growth overall this year. Our business activity first fund is water sewer, which is our enterprise fund. They had total revenues of $9.6 million, with total expenses of $9.8. The water, and with a loss of $198,000. The water department's expenses have increased or larger, and but the sewer expenses have decreased from last year. Part of the reason for the water department variances is due to increases in salary of $50,000, professional services of $23,000, maintenance and repair of buildings of $48,000, water tank maintenance of $43,000, and water purchases of $67,000, which this includes both Carroll County and Douglas County water purchases. Our next enterprise fund is our sanitation and solid waste. In the month of August, it generated just under $1.6 million with expenses of $1.5 for a total net income of $65,667. And our last fund is our self-funded insurance. Cash in the bank, we have $1,767,000. As you can see, we continue to have savings every quarter in this fund for a total savings of $580,284. The total contributions, which includes both the employer and employee contributions, total of $2.1 million, and the expenses at $1.5 million, which includes admin costs and claims paid.
Very good. Council, do you have any questions? Louise, you did fine.
Thank you.
Sounded like you were a little nervous, but you did fine.
Did good.
Thank you. All right, we still don't have Ron. So let's, Bobby, you want to do yours? Come on up here. D1, revisions to the City of Villa Rica Development Regulations. How many pages did you say this was?
375 or so.
Okay. So you're going to present this tonight, but you're not looking for any action on it.
Yes, we need a vote tonight.
Okay, let me look at this. You want to approve the revisions to the development regulations tonight?
Yes.
Why did I think this was a presentation only?
I can do a presentation, Mayor, but it'll take till sometime tomorrow to get through it.
Well, we're going to need some presentation irrespective. So go ahead and introduce it, and then we'll take it up.
Well, let me give a little background on this. When I got here in Villa Rica, the development regulations and specifications were about this thick, very sketchy, and they had just evolved over time. So I wrote this manual. Council adopted it on May of 2018. And it's such a cumbersome manual. It's got all the standard details. It's got everything in it, and we don't revise it that often because it's such a lot of work to do that. But about a year, 15 months ago or so, well, first of all, on all residential gravity sewer projects in Villa Rica, all those projects have to be sent to Georgia EPD for review, and we haven't had very good luck with that since I've been here. So about 15 months ago, I sent EPD a request for them to allow Villa Rica to be issuing authority on the gravity sewer projects that we talked about. They can delegate the local issuing authority with that power, and they sent me back a list of after they went through our whole manual. Okay, you need to change your manual and add all this stuff in for us to consider approving your local authority on your gravity sewer. So hence, that's where we are. Most of the changes, the revisions in this manual are a result of EPD wanting us to add a bunch of stuff. Now, I handed out a 3-page summary at the retreat, just broad brush going over, globally what we did. We cleaned up a lot of stuff, and we added a lot of stuff in there to sections 200, 300, and 400, pretty much exclusively, because everything else is in good shape. But we're trying to get Villa Rica reviewing authority on residential projects, because when you send them downtown, they keep them 2 to 3 months, and they might review it, and then they might send you a letter stating that your project wasn't chosen for review. And that's 3.5 months of wasted time that we're holding people up. So I'm reviewing it, well, I'm still reviewing it now. How much longer, I don't know, but I'm reviewing it anyway. You send it downtown for them to look at it. And it's just, we want to take that over and keep it in-house.
Okay, so you came to the retreat, what was it, it was a few weeks ago, I don't remember
Yeah.
the exact date. And we saved you for last. You came in last and you made this whole presentation, the same thing you just did. So what essentially you're doing here is you have modified our regulations as per EPD so that we would be in compliance to be our own
Yes,
authority on
that is
the
correct.
sewer gravity. So all these modifications are required so that you can now go back and get this authority, because we would have met the requirements that they asked for.
Once approved, I'll send the approved version back down to EPD. Hopefully, they'll review them again, 4 or 5 months maybe.
Okay.
They'll go back through them. If they're satisfied with the changes we put in, then they will give us review authority in writing to do our own review on residential projects.
Okay. All right. So we went over the summary of those changes in the retreat. Council, do you have any questions for Bobby now?
I have a couple.
All right, Mr. Montahan.
All right, Bobby. So I'm not an engineer, and we talked about some stuff before, and I think you've addressed those. But I'm not an engineer. My thing is all about zoning. And I noticed that on a lot of the final plats that we have that we submit, there is a reference to the zoning category, but there is not a recitation of the zoning stipulations or conditions. I see here that for the final plat requirements, it does say, and I don't know if this said this before, or maybe, so this is new or not, it does say that on page 200-7, on number 9, general notes on the plat stating total product acreage, so forth and so on. All zoning stipulations, if any, must also be on the plat. So I'm happy to see that. However, I would
Hang on
like.
a second.
Okay.
It's a little bit more intense than it has been in a while. So, all right, go ahead.
However, on the prelim plat submittal, I don't see any note like that. It doesn't include the zoning stipulations, and I think that's kind of the place you're going to want to catch zoning stipulations, is that prelim and not final. It's pretty much done. So is that something that you can, change?
I included all of the checklists that I use to review projects.
Okay.
All of them. There's a preliminary plat checklist.
And does that require
I believe it's listed as part of my review on a preliminary plat. If there's zoning conditions, they've got to be on the plat.
that's down at the end, right? The checklist?
It's
think
in
they're like
section
section
200 toward the end, yes.
Oh, are they in 200? Okay. Well, this thing is just being slow.
That's
Dash
the final plat.
64.
He's talking about preliminary.
Okay, let me get back up there, because I went all the way down to the 500s.
But also keep in mind that the final plat is the plat of record.
Sure, but if you're, I guess my concern is if you're reviewing the prelim plat, and the next after that is your construction plats, or construction.
Keep in mind that Ron Johnson also reviews these from a zoning perspective. It's not just me. So Ron will review the preliminary plat just like I will.
Yeah, I know we've had issues with that, though, in practice, that I'm I just don't see how it doesn't hurt just to put the steps on the prelim plat too. I mean, that's just my concern, because we, as a council, we work pretty hard to, review these zonings, get conditions, and then
Right.
stipulations. We negotiate, discuss here with the developers, and they make concessions, and we try to get the best possible product for our community we can. And then they end up getting built, and then we put them on the final plat. The final plat, okay, it's done with. And I know, like, for example, I think it was what is the project out there on Connors that there was a major issue. And I'm just trying to avoid the repeats of the horrors that we have to deal with as a present council for those ghosts of the past.
Teresa, it's the first.
I'm sorry, I'm trying to get back to it.
It's the
I've
first
totally
checklist
lost
in there.
it.
Just scroll it up.
I'm at 300-33 now. Let me keep going back. The problem is it doesn't load every page. Okay, I'm at 200-40 now. Let me go back.
That's
Yeah.
it. That's it.
Is
Teresa.
this it right here? Yeah, hold on. Yeah, yeah. City of Villa Rica preliminary plat checklist.
Scroll them down. Keep going.
Keep going, because I can't.
Okay.
Keep going.
See, it says 25, present zoning and zoning of abutting land. But I don't see the part about the stipulations,
Keep going.
conditions. All right, there it is, right there, 31. Okay. Okay.
Yes.
If anything, then, if it's on the checklist, then why would it not be in the prelim plat requirement? You might as well be
If
consistent,
it's on the
right?
checklist, it will be on the plat. I can
Okay.
assure you.
Okay, I'm just saying,
Yeah, all right, so that's
All right.
number 31. You had another,
no, that was it.
That was
That was
it?
my primary,
Okay.
that was really
I-
it, so, thank you,
because
Bob.
you had brought that up before, and so I was going to wonder if there was a possibility for us to get those on the prelim plat, but now I see it on the checklist, so I appreciate that. All right, anybody else? Okay. Does anybody have the cover sheet pulled up? All right, Mr. Carter, can I recognize you for a motion?
Okay, I move to approve the revisions to the city development regulations.
All right, I have a motion from Mr. Carter. Is there a second?
Second.
I have a second from Ms. McCoy. All in favor? All right, that's unanimous. Thank you, Bobby.
Thank you,
Take
sir.
it to the next step. Let's get it done. All right, and we still have no Ron.
No,
So-
Ron's here. He's here.
Where's he at? Invisible. You went back there and took Bobby's seat. I'm used to you sitting right there. All right, let's
for
go back
waiting.
up.
Thank you.
Let's pick up community development. B1.
All right.
VA-10-23, 133 West Bankhead Highway. This is a variance to reduce drive-through queuing spaces. Ron, would
Yes.
you introduce this item?
Yes, good afternoon, everyone. This is an application by Charles Bishop, who is seeking a variance from Section 7.02, subsection 15B of the zoning ordinance at 133 West Bankhead Highway. This is for a restaurant business where he's looking to install a drive-through and is looking for some relief from our minimum requirements for queuing spaces, which is 7 required spaces. So the staff has recommended denial for this, but we've also, in the work session, it appeared that we would like to put some options on here as well for certain conditions and different things. So I did go back and took a look at the application and what conditions might make some sense based off some of the feedback that I received earlier.
Okay. My understanding is the applicant could not be here tonight.
The applicant's not here, but I believe that the applicant may have brought a representative possibly in the room. No?
Is the applicant or a representative of the applicant here?
Okay.
Okay, maybe not.
Maybe not.
All right. Let's, so let me look at these. So the conditions might be that the drive-through can only be used for a restaurant use. Should another use occupy the property, a request for a special use permit shall be required. Drive-through must be adequately lit, paved with a hard, dustless material, and properly demarcated. All entrance/exit standards will continue to apply to the property, including but not limited to curbing, paving, driveway queuing, distances, and driveway entrance width. The applicant must demonstrate that these standards have been achieved. So I think I heard Councilman Montahan say earlier today that he would be inclined to favor this if this use was restricted for this use on this business only, not the fact that it's a restaurant, but just this one, this business holder.
Yeah, I mean, and I appreciate you putting this together, Ron. I just think that the restaurant use is too broad. I mean, if we're worrying about queuing here, you know, you can put a burger stand in there, and all of a sudden the whole dynamic of the queuing changes. So I would, if we could limit this further to just essentially the business owner at the time, or the current business owner, I should say. I mean, that would be a preferred stipulation. Obviously, you know, that's the will of the council. My other concern, though, is if the applicant is not here and there's no representative here, have you had a chance to talk about any of these conditions with them?
Not with the applicant. I did give a quick call to the applicant once I left here and earlier. And the applicant, we just strictly spoke about the representation for tonight.
Okay.
We didn't really get too much into the weeds with the application. So.
I mean, was it your impression they were going to be here?
No, he
Okay.
was actually out of town, but a representative, he said he may be able to get here this evening.
Okay.
So it wasn't written in stone or anything.
Okay. Thank you.
Tom, did you? Oh, Dave.
Yeah, we were just going to say, in response to the recommendation that we limit it to this owner, I'd be concerned about that because that limits the marketability of it. I don't have a problem with limiting it to a snow cone ice cream business.
Okay.
You good with that?
I'm fine with that. I mean, snow cone ice cream parlor, we probably have a definition of that in the zoning ordinance we can apply to here. I guess my concern right now is that the applicant's not here to discuss and state whether they agree with those conditions. And I also have a general irritation when people ask us for things and then they don't show up for meetings. So I'm inclined to ask the table this matter, but obviously I'm just one council person.
Well, let's do this. Let's do a public hearing first, and then we'll discuss it a little further, and then determine from there. I was not aware until late this evening, I guess, that the applicant would not be here. So let's do this. Let's do a public hearing. Is there anybody here who would like to speak for or against this variance request? Sir, come on up. You can. We'll give you 3 minutes. Give us your name and address, and we'll hear you.
Doug Lang, 262 South Carroll Road. Without the applicant, of course, we don't get to ask questions, but with the applicant here, we get to hear the council ask questions, and then from there, as residents, we get some feel for what's going on. So I would just reiterate or agree with Councilman Momtahan that it's not a good feel or a good look, I think, if an applicant that isn't here or present or can't answer any of your questions, and therefore, you know, we have no idea. You have no idea if they're not here, so we can't have any idea. And it just seems to me this would be the type of thing maybe that gets tabled until we can get some more information, because I don't even know. It was probably on the agenda, I assume it was, but I don't even know what type of restaurant it is, or you know, or what's going on. So, from my standpoint, if you could, you know, postpone it, table it until the applicant was here, I would think that would be. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Is there anybody else here who would like to speak for or against this variance application? All right, seeing none, I will close the public hearing. I had not seen these conditions. I had heard Councilman Momtahan talk about restricting this to the current use, the current applicant earlier today, and that felt comfortable to me. I do, however, agree with you, and I've heard you say that before, and I've shared that same sentiment. So Does any other council members have any questions on this item? All right, go ahead.
Well, I do agree. I do agree that if the applicant cannot be bothered to be here, then at this time, then how can we make a decision? Because we don't have anyone here to ask questions. And I'm kind of like the councilman, that's kind of a little pet peeve. So, how many people have been here multiple times over multiple issues, or sometimes the same issue, and they found a way to make it, and this person and this particular applicant hasn't. With that being said, though, I know we're trying to be beneficial to small businesses in downtown and everything like that, and having to make people come back and stuff. But in this case, the applicant isn't even here this time. So that's my 2 cents.
Okay. It is, this is a small business in downtown that was requesting this relief, but I do respect the stated positions of both council members, myself, and really the public. So in light of that, I think I will hear a motion to table this item to next month.
I make a
Mr.
motion.
Monahan.
I make a motion to table this to the November meeting. This
Second.
item to the November meeting.
We'll take this item. A second from Mr. McCarter. All right. All in favor? Okay. That's unanimous. We will take this item over to the November council meeting. All right. Let's move on to B2, VA-10-23 and CU-02-23. Special exception and variance application to operate a digital billboard sign within 500 feet of a residential zone. Ron, please introduce this item.
Yes, so this is an application from Clear Channel Outdoor, and they're looking for a special exception permit in order to operate that digital billboard. And they also currently have a static billboard on site that they would be changing out. And the applicant is also requesting some relief. The ordinance requires 500 feet for a 500-foot distance, rather, from a residential zoning boundary. And they're looking at somewhere approximately 250 feet based on the information that has been submitted to the department. So the staff has recommended denial for both the special exception and the variance, and just based off of the feedback that we received from the council earlier today, that we came back with some additional possible approval conditions as well.
Okay, and let me look at these as they've also been amended for the evening. So there is conditions that would lead to an approval with conditions. One, the sign shall be lowered to a peak height that is no higher than the highest point of the existing vegetative tree line. And two, the 150-foot vegetative tree line must be maintained for the life of the sign to shield the sign from residential zoning south of Berry Drive. All right, council, do you have any questions for staff before I hear from the applicant?
Well, Ron, I just wanted to ask, have you had a chance to discuss these conditions with the applicant?
Yes, I have.
Okay.
The applicant is okay with the 2 conditions.
Okay.
All right, anybody else? Okay, let's hear from the applicant. Is the applicant here? Would you like to be recognized? Come on up here, ma'am. Give us your name and address for the record, and we will hear from you.
Heather Lloyd with Clear Channel Outdoor. Address is 1765 West Oak Parkway, Marietta, Georgia.
All right. Do you have anything you want to add?
No, we're
You-
fine with
you're-
the additional.
You would be good with the conditions
Absolutely.
that I just outlined?
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. Then I'll do a public hearing, and then we'll come back to you if we need to. Is there anybody here who would like to speak either for or against the special exception and the variance application that was just presented? Yes, ma'am. Come on up here. Give us your name and address for the record, and we will give you 3 minutes.
Monique Franklin, 206 Oakwood Place, Villa Rica. I just listened to you guys' statement about approving this digital sign, but again, I'm not sure what feedback you all received because I'm not aware of that, but I just had a lot of questions because I live directly across from that area, how it's going to impact my home and my livability in my subdivision. Is it going to be lighted all day or night? I don't know those answers to those questions, so I just really wanted to know what is the impact going to be immediately on my property and my property value. Because
Okay, let's do this.
Yes.
Let's stop the clock for just a second. And hey guys. And let me tell you what we learned earlier today in the work session, and then I'll let you start back just in case, okay? So this is a V-shaped billboard.
Okay.
Okay? It will be facing the east and west of I-20.
Okay.
It'll be lit, but it'll just be lit on both sides, but it doesn't face the residential,
Okay.
which is where you live,
Yes.
at all.
Okay.
It is located on a commercial tract of land,
Mm-hmm.
but the reason we're talking about the residential is because it's across Berry Drive, which is where you live over in that subdivision.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
But you should not be impacted in any
Okay.
way by this light.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I hope that answered your question, but let's start it back and let you go again.
Okay, yeah, so that was my biggest concern because I just got a letter that I have no idea what it means. So I did kind of Google the codes to figure out that it was a digital sign because there are 2 billboards already there. So I don't know, are those being removed?
They're
Okay.
going to replace the face of those.
Okay.
So the standard sign is coming down and a lit sign is going up.
Okay.
But again, they
It will
face I-20.
Okay, perfect. As long
You
as it
good?
doesn't, yes, I'm perfect. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am.
Appreciate you all.
Thank you. All right. Is there anybody else here who would like to speak for or against this special exception and variance application? All right. Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing. I'll revert back to staff. Council, do you have any questions for staff at this point? Mr. Carter.
It isn't a question, but clarification, so, she's leaving. Anyway, the sign is going to be brought down some, lowered down so that it doesn't stick up above the trees.
That's correct, yes, so that people.
Because it is in the
designated cover.
stipulations of the conditions.
That's right.
Okay.
All right. Anybody else? All right. If not, is there someone who's prepared to make a motion?
I'll give
Mr.
it a
Carter.
shot. I
You're
move
good
to-
at this.
I move to approve the requested special exception and the requested variance for the billboard signed by Clear Channel Outdoor with the conditions specified above.
All right. Have a motion from Mr. Carter to approve with the conditions as specified. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Mr. Momtahan. All in favor? All right, that's unanimous. All right, very good.
Thanks.
Let's move on to where are we at? All right, so D2.
I have not had an opportunity to speak with Ron, but based on our prior practice, it would be my recommendation that this only be a presentation. We have not advertised this for a public hearing. correct?
That's correct, not for tonight.
Yeah, so based on that, I would say, Mr. Mayor, that this should just be a presentation, not a public hearing nor a vote on it.
Okay. This will be a very brief presentation because you already presented this in the work session today, and I brought it over here to do, to take this to a vote, because earlier in the work session, we were not aware that there was an additional requirement. I guess you didn't even think about it until you were on your way back to your office. Is
Yep.
that right?
That's
Okay.
right.
So let's do a brief presentation, see if council has any questions, and then you will go from here to prepare those noticing provisions.
That's
so that
right.
we can do this next month. Go ahead.
All right. No. Can you load it up? It's right there.
Did you say airdrop?
Yeah. No, wrong. All right. Should I use that? Or you gotta use it? Okay, no worries. All right, so the department has been working tirelessly on these changes, as we know, and we initially started this back, I want to say, in January, and it has grown and grown and grown. So, in order for an interest of time tonight, I've separated out chapter summaries for each chapter. And if we need to go into more detail just based off of that summary, just please let me know. I have no problems with going through some of those slides. So the first one here, Chapter 1, summary, the only part of Chapter 1 that we did change was Section 1.04. We introduced new regulations for change of use applications. We ran into a lot of issues in the office with change of use, and now we have a much better sketched out way of dealing with change of use applications. We also exempted municipal and county and state-owned properties from uses and use district regulations. We can scroll down, keep going, keep going. I'll tell you when to stop. Keep going. I'm going to stop. Chapter 2. All right, so Chapter 2, we did quite a number of changes. Many of them we've already kind of gone over with 2.02, which is the Planning Commission section. We revised the Planning Commission's membership terms and the term language per the City Council and the City Attorney's request. We introduced a new attendance policy. We introduced required training for commissioners. We removed the authority within this section for plat decisions, which were consistent with the state law and also the City Council actions back in 2022. We changed all language referring to an administrative and plat committee to the technical advisory committee, being that we don't have an administrative and plat committee. We removed inconsistent staff appeal language. We revised language surrounding what a variance can be applied for, removed duplicate language, and added the joint school city committee language that we passed back in August of 2023. Section 2.06, we added language from the revised state law regarding hearing standards and requirements. You can head down to Chapter 3. So Chapter 3, we actually didn't have any changes. It was just nonconformity section. That section actually works correctly. Go down to, there we go. Chapter 6. We revised and updated the PUD procedures. This is the PUD section of the ordinance, the Plan Unit Development section. We clarified what standards apply to PUDs in the absence of specific standards when City Council passes a PUD development. We revised language referring to revisions of PUDs. We corrected the preliminary plat procedures to align with the previous City Council actions. We revised language throughout to refer to a preliminary plat and a development plan procedures as the same, and revised the roles of the Planning Commission and the Technical Advisory Committee. We removed the option for alternative submissions for final plats to align with our existing process. Introduced a subsection to restrict amendments to concept plans and final plats and provide regulations surrounding major and minor changes. And lastly, we revised the PUD flowchart accordingly.
We're going to Chapter 7 now?
Chapter 7.
Okay.
Inserted new language for changes of use. So we ported that just from 1.04 that we talked about in the beginning. We revised stacking spaces for drive-throughs to be consistent throughout the ordinance. We removed references to parking lots in special areas, being that we actually don't have any special areas. Introduced expanded parking requirements for warehousing, distribution, or flex tenant spaces. Classified redevelopment sites as undeveloped or underdeveloped. Added additional amenity options for single-family developments. And we moved portions of the architectural standards for commercial and single-family, et cetera, into 3 new subsections of Chapter 7 to address the layout and site planning for residential, commercial, and industrial uses. So there was no new language there. We just moved it over into a new chapter. And lastly, the last portion that which is the last slide, was some additions to some different definitions. So these are just definitions that we're putting in to make all of these new changes actually work. So we do refer to certain things like developed parcel or a package store, et cetera, that we didn't have definitions for. So we're just adding those in.
All right, very good. So this went before the planning and zoning.
It did, yes.
So it was noticed for planning and zoning. It went before planning and zoning, and it was...
And we had a public hearing, and it was approved.
You know the vote?
Yes. I have vote 3-1.
The vote was 3-1, so that sounds like somebody was absent. All right. 3-1, and so there was a public hearing. It was heard at Planning and Zoning. They passed it out 3-1, and now it is before the council for presentation. When you leave here, you're going to set this up for noticing provisions, and
That's
then
right.
we're going to take this up in a public hearing next month.
Next month,
All right, council, do you have any questions for Ron?
No
Mr.
questions,
Carter.
but I might point out on his summary of changes here, he says the city council votes on 11/14/23, so he already anticipated what we can vote on tonight.
I changed that in between the meetings.
All right, anybody
Thank you.
else? Okay, thank you, Ron.
Thanks.
All right, folks, we have come to the end. We have executive sessions tonight, but we do have a city manager's report. You don't want to do that tonight, okay? There was an extensive one last month. Got a lot of rave reviews. So we do have an executive session tonight. So, Mr. Mecklin, would you introduce that for us?
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor. We are proposing that the council vote to go in executive session for two purposes, really. One, to discuss pending litigation that the city's involved in, just to give the council an update on where we stand on any ongoing litigation. And then secondly, a meeting to discuss an option to purchase, dispose of, or lease real estate, which would later require a public vote. So those are the two purposes.
So I have three. Do you not have three?
Yeah, well, there are three, but two of them are essentially the same thing, discussing litigation.
Okay, so I will entertain a motion to go into executive session as delineated by the city attorney.
Yeah, I'll make that motion.
All right. Motion for Mr. Carter to go into executive session. Is there a second?
Second.
I have a second for Mr. Bompton. All in favor? All right.